Hello everyone, welcome to Modern Chess Kids. Today I'm going to show you the game played by Miguel and Julio, and this beautiful game complete in only 28 moves. And let's see how the game play. The game starts with a pawn to d4, d5, c4, and here you have the queen gambit opening. And in this game, the black capture the c4 pawn, and this become the queen gambit as a. Let's see how the black play and win the game. So the game continue with the pawn to c, and this allow the bishop to attack the pawn at c4 and win back the pawn. So after this, the strongest move for the black will be e5, trying to gain control on the center and allow the bishop at f8 to become active in the game and can check the king at this position. So the pawn, after the bishop capture the pawn, then the e takes d4, and now the pawn takes back the pawn. Then the bishop continue to play bishop to d6, and this is d6, and this is the first 5 move, and the position is quite equal for both. So the game continue with a queen to b3, and this bishop is trying to attack the f7 pawn and win the pawn. So if you move the bishop to e6 to protect it, and this will be a tactical blunder, because after bishop capture and the pawn capture, then the queen can just capture the pawn at b7 and will be attack the rook. So at this position, the white will be very better to win a pawn. So therefore, the best move for the black to play would be queen to e, check the king at the same time, will protect the pawn from being captured by the bishop. So the game continue with white keep on develop bishop to e7 and block the check. And now the black develop knight to d7, and you also can consider playing knight to f6 as well. So in nature game, knight to d7 was played, and now the white just developed the knight to c3, and with this knight, this allowed the king to go for a long castling and away from the pin. After this move, the black play knight to b6, and after this move, the black is trying to attack the bishop, and the bishop do not want to exchange, he just move the bishop to d3. And after this move, the knight to f6, and this is a critical path or idea for the black, from the knight to g8 to f6, then to g4, and just capture the bishop at e3. And with this capture of the bishop, and if the pawn capture it back, then the queen will just capture the pawn and win the pawn in this position. And when the check, if you block with the bishop, then the queen will just capture another pawn in the game. So after this move, d5 was played, and now the knight g4, and the black is on the road to attack the pin bishop. After this move, the white is win a pawn in the game. So after the castling, the knight will just capture, and the pawn capture, then the queen will just capture and check the king. So after capture and check the king, king just move to inside, and in this position the black is better by winning a pawn. So after this move, the bishop to d7 was played. Bishop to d7 was played, and now the knight to b5, trying to attack the bishop, or also can attack the pawn. So after this move, the black go for a long casting, and here the knight just capture the bishop, and after capture, the pawn capture you back. So at this position, this is the first 15 move, and you can see that the black is still better in this position, as there is no checkmate from the white, and the black is winning a pawn. Then the game continue with a queen to a3, trying to attack the pawn at d6, and also able to attack the pawn at a7. And after this move, the king just move king to b8 and give up the pawn. So here the queen just capture the pawn, and the king again just move to a8, and this is black to hide from being any check from the white. Then the queen just move away to a3, and after this the black just continue to move the bishop and attack the rook, and now you can see that the rook have to move somewhere, and it cannot come up, because if you move the rook to d2, it will be captured by the queen. So therefore the white just block the pawn b3, and after this move, now the black move knight takes the pawn, which is one of the best move, as the black will continue to move the knight from g6 to d5, then to f4 and attack the pin bishop, as the bishop cannot move and the rook will be attacked the rook. And also the knight able to come to c3, and it will be win by a 4. So we check the king and also will attack the rook, and also the queen cannot capture the bishop. If you capture the bishop, then you become a royal 4, and the black will be winning. And if you capture with the pawn, and in the actual game the white just capture the pawn, capture with the pawn on the bishop. And now here come another interesting idea of playing a knight to f4, and here you have a 1, the rook and the queen 3 attack on the bishop, and this will be a winning for the black. So this bishop also cannot run away, and if you move away the bishop, then the queen will be able to attack the queen and win. So after this move, the white just develop the knight to f3, and now the knight will just capture, and as you see, if your rook takes, the rook will take, and the position will be better for the black. And also at this position, the black is still winning pawn. So after this move, the white play queen to b3. Another suggestion that you can play is make a rook to d2, and if the queen goes to b6 and check the king, then the king can just same move the king to a1 to hide the king from further check. So for example, if your queen to b6 and check, the king will go inside, and now the queen cannot come back to d4 and check, as the knight is protected in the square. So if your queen goes to f6 and check, then the king will just come out, and in this position still the black is better, but nothing much the black can do. So the next will be make the rook to double up and attack the knight. So after this move, Queen B3 was played. And then the rook trying to double up by playing rook to d6. And here the white push a6 to prevent the rook to b6 and attack the queen and win, because it will be pinned. So here the black continue to play rook h to d8 to double up the rook, and now the king just moved to a1 to prevent from the attack. Then the queen to f4, and you have the idea to come to f6 and check the king and threaten to win in this position. So after this, queen to c3 was played, and this to prevent the queen to go for the check. Then a6 was played, and this is the first 25 move. As you can see, now the black has decisive advantage in the game, and the game continue with the rook to d2 trying to double up and attack the knight. And now the rook just goes to c6 to attack the queen, and now the queen sees that nothing the black can do, so the queen just capture the pawn. And after capture the pawn, and this is one of the tactical blunder which give black the clear winning position. So after this move, the black move queen to b4 and trying to continue the attack. After this, the rook play rook to b1. So basically the best move to play at this position would be put the queens to c7, and you have the check and will be winning. So if the black play a3, then the queen will continue to attack the pawn and attack the pawn at a3. So in the actual game, queen b4 was played, and after this move, the black play rook to b1, and you can see this rook to b1 is one of the tactical blunder that the white made, and with this move the black is winning and made in 2. I give a couple of seconds to figure out how the black continue to play and made in 2. Well, congratulations for those who found the answer, and for those who like to enjoy the show, here are the moves that the black play and win the game. In the actual game, the black play a queen sacrifice. As you can see, the queen takes the rook and check the king, and this forces the king to capture, as there is no other way can prevent the check. And after this move, the white resign the game, and if you want to continue the game, if the king capture, then you have the rook to c1 and checkmate the king, and the knight is control the square of b2. So back to this position, the rook b1 is a disaster, as it gives black the winning chance. And if you play a rook takes the knight, rook takes d3, then the rook will continue to capture back again, and here you have a very strong attack from the black. Then if the queen comes to b2 to go for the action, and now the black can just capture the pawn, and next you continue the attack. So after the rook come back to b1, then at least the white can save from being have a direct attack. And this game, although the black is clearly winning, but you take a longer time to checkmate. So with this, as you can see, the beautiful game is the queen sacrifice in this position. And with this, thank you.